How many women named Flavia are with us tonight? Beautiful, welcome. Do you happen to know how many women named Flavia have written Swiss laws in the past 150 years? Actually, it was just one. As a matter of fact, there have been a lot men named Hans who were in our parliament. 336 to be exact. More men named Hans have written Swiss laws than women ever did. All in all, it was 10 times more men than women who have sat in our parliament. What a shame. Why? Because the people should be reflected in our governments and in our parliaments. That is not just my own strong belief, it is actually written in the Swiss constitution. When electing new members to the Federal Council, there needs to be a representation of different factors. Our national languages, our regions, but when it comes to the representation of women, this rule simply does not apply. Women make up over 50% of the Swiss population, and yet, in politics, they are largely underrepresented. This is why, as part of the women's umbrella organization Alliance F, a group of women and we created a movement of women into politics. We determined that if we want to get more women elected, we need to have more women running for office. We need to make sure that women have good chances in getting elected. And we need voters to cast their ballots for women. So how do we get more women running for office? By empowering them. By showing them that politics shape every sphere of society. So no matter what background, what experience, or even political belief you have, your perspective matters, and it needs to be brought into parliament. And this is where Helvetia comes in. You all know Helvetia. She is the female representation of Switzerland, the personification of our country. She is this strong figure, and we use this authority to call women into parliament. And our experience shows that women are eager to bring in their perspective. Over the past year, we have reached over 600 women from all parts of Switzerland who have stated their interest in running for office. A third of them were complete newcomers in the world of politics. All they needed was a final push. Helvetia called them, but she didn't ask them to do it alone. For the first time, we created a movement that unified over party lines, headed by women of all major political parties. Together with them, we actually showed these new candidates the ropes. We put them in contact with the political parties that they were interested in, and we set them up so they were ready to run. How to position themselves as a politician, how to stand in front of people, how to talk to the media, how to use social media in their campaigns. But how do we make sure that these women actually have good chances in getting elected? By putting pressure on the political parties. We contacted over 1,000 people who were in charge of making the lists, and we pressured them into giving men and women equal opportunities in these lists. In a public rating, we showed which one of them actually did their part. And last but not least, how do we make sure that voters actually cast their ballots for women? By ensuring a dynamic within society, a strong movement that supports Helvetia's call and that amplifies her message. So when it comes to election day, women actually get the necessary votes. 2019 will go down as the year of women in politics in this country. Many steps have led us here. One of them being the biggest strike Switzerland has ever seen, when 500,000 women and men took to the streets, demanding equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal representation in all spheres of society. The second one was on October 20th, when Switzerland's democracy took a leap, when the number of women elected to the National Council rose from 32 to 42%, and the number of women in the Council of States doubled. And for the first time, voters actually preferred women over men. After these elections, Switzerland actually reached from 37 to the 15th highest proportion of women in House of Representatives worldwide. In Europe, it now ranks just behind Belgium and Finland. And let me tell you this, Switzerland is not a leading country when it comes to gender equality in politics. In 1971, we were one of the last countries in the world to introduce the right to vote for women. And yet, we have achieved this historical movement of women into politics. And if we did it, so can you. Because such movements don't happen by chance. They happen because people like you work over party lines, because people like you empower women to run for office, because people like you pressure political parties to give men and women equal opportunities, and because people like you cast their ballots for women. Because all of us build a strong and loud movement that changes the characteristics and the face of politics today. Because all of us know that a democracy is only as good as it represents its people. Thank you.